Tony Quinn, who's, I don't know if he's a relation, general manager of the Tony Quinn operation in Ireland, he's emailed us from their computer to say that you're not getting in on Sunday because it's entirely private. Oh, sorry, Martin Ford, general manager.
Martin Ford, he's been one of Tony's...
But he said that the meeting on Sunday is by invitation only.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we have no intention of going in. We want to be outside so that we can appeal to the rational side of the mind of those about to pay up 18 grand, because they have to be in a certain mind control situation before, no normal person, when they go into Tesco, they look for the cheapest milk normally. They don't go for the most expensive one. In this crowd, they'll actually pay double, because if you go to them and say, look, you're going to be paying up too much money, they'll actually pay double that, because their mind has been taken over to such an extent that they can't even think straight any longer.
Do you think in times of recession, like now, people are going to be attracted more and more to organisations or religions or cults like this?
I think there will be to cults in general, but I don't think to Tony's specific one, because this is one he's been promoting since September. He's doing the kind of, the way Marks and Spencer's buy one and get one free. In other words, if you've been on one of his seminars, this is one he's going to give back out of the benevolence of his loving heart to the people of... And
will he be there on Sunday?
Oh, he's going to be there, and I'd say he's got the flights booked. He's not a great man for flying, according to my contact, because I'm now through to the very highest level of his organisation, people who are leaving. So he is in a very tight situation. My own computers last week, my own website, got 2,000 hits per second last week. It's still down. I'm still working with the company to get it restored. Now, again, I can't connect with anybody, but it's interesting that just coming up to the time when the battle is being joined, this battle is being gone on, as you know, with Tony Quinn. There's been people on your program for years speaking about it, but there's also a kind of a funny guru thing, because as you know, you remember the film director, our great man himself from Ballybuck Road, I'm trying to think of his name now.
Jim Sheridan.
Yeah. On our website, we have an interview that he had with Tony Quinn, where Tony Quinn kind of presented himself as a kind of a Jesus figure. I have a number of cases of families who've told me that when they got into the higher levels, he was presented as Jesus Christ. I have a woman who in the early 70s took part in his yoga courses on Bagot Street, and she is now pretty much psychologically crippled due to her involvement with him, which involved the same type of activity as used by...
Okay, stay there for a sec with you, Mike Garde, because I want to bring in John Duignan. John is a former member of the Church of Scientology, which is back in the news in a tragic way today, and that is the untimely and tragic death of John Travolta's son, Jet, who apparently now there's controversy over whether the child had autism, and this is being denied because one of the things being said is that John Travolta, as a member of the Church of Scientology, they do not recognise autism. Is that true, John?
Yeah, Scientology doesn't recognise any psychiatric or psychiatric medical illnesses at all. They believe it's all you yourself, the spirit.
Okay,
yeah?
Now you were at events with John Travolta, so he is a member of the Church of Scientology.
Oh, big time. I mean, yes, absolutely.
And what were the events you were at where he was in attendance?
I mean, there were many and varied. I mean, there was the huge one where the whole YouTube controversy with Tom Cruise, where he spoke at this event and made this video for that event specifically. That was back in 2005. I was at 2004, and they were both there. I was over at the when Scientology got the IRS tax, recognition, I think, whatever they call it. So they're given tax-free status in America in 1993. Huge event. And of course, John Travolta was there as well. And in England, and that's kind of followed him.
And how long were you a member of the Church of Scientology for?
22 years.
And why do they not recognise autism?
Well, they don't recognise any psychiatric illness at all.
And what do they say? Well, God forget. What do they say is wrong is different about the child then?
First of all, Scientology. First of all, you have to go back to frame what this means. First of all, Scientology is a psychotherapeutic system. It sells psychotherapy. but it's their own brand of psychotherapy, yeah? And so it's at competition with standard scientific medical practice. Yeah, that's the actual fact of what Scientology is. Now, it denies it. It tries to say it's a church and that it's whatever else. You're trying to counsel people up to, freedom of spirituality. That's the kind of words you will hear them saying. But in reality, they sell very, very expensive psychological counseling, which is dangerous, quite frankly.
And why did you leave after 22 years?
Well, I mean, it's extremely, I mean, that's why I wrote the book about it. It's called The Complex. There's too much in there to be able just to give you an offhand answer on that. But I came to realize the truth about Scientology. Let's put it that way.
And which is, in your view?
Well, that it is a con. It is an invented construct in order to take money out of people.
So how is it con John Travolta and Tom Cruise, for example?
Why not? I mean, Tom Cruise doesn't strike me as a highly introspective person. Having again watched him close up and seen him on various events and so on. They want something. They want what Scientology offers, and what Scientology really offers, I suppose, is a false sense of brilliance, a false sense of accomplishment, a false sense of power, actually. That's essentially what it's kind of offering, and it takes you up to the level of what's called operating Thetan 8, which is where you operate without your body. You're fully.
Do you think in these times, John? Sorry for cutting across. Do you think in these times, John Duignan, that people would be more open to joining organisations like the Scientologists?
Well, I think at times like this, people need to really get their heads screwed on even tighter. I think that people would be more realistic because